Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for the Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. Our next presentation today is from Cassiar Gold. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides, and you can view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Marco Rock. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Cassiar Gold, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol CGLCF and on the TSXV under the symbol GLDC. Welcome back, Marco.
Thanks for having me, John. It's a pleasure to be here. All right, thank you so much, John. Good morning, everyone, and thanks everyone for attending this. I just wanted to apologize. In the beginning, I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm fighting a flu, so apologies if that gets in the way of the presentation. Other than that, just a little bit of housekeeping. Just want to bring your disclaimer, attention to the disclaimer and forward-looking statements that I will be making today as well. Just to start off, especially given where we are in the gold price, and given we are basically an advanced gold explorer, I think it's just very important to highlight a few things, especially for the new investors that are coming into this space. These are a few slides that I think kind of summarize the state of where we are. Gold has become the first asset in history to achieve, $30 trillion valuation. That's basically above ground gold, and that's very, very important. Although I guess the secret or the open secret is that it might not be the gold price going up, it might just be the US dollar value and all the other fiat currencies going down. Another key aspect which is driving for performance of gold is really central bank buying. We've seen unprecedented gold buying by central banks like we haven't seen in many, many decades. So that's actually one of the main buyers and the main drivers of the recent gold performance. But historically, and if you look at the table or the chart on the bottom left, if you look at historical gold price runs in a gold price, we're actually in a very average gold bull run, which is actually quite interesting because I think this rally is very different from other rallies, with the main reason being the presence or the moves from central banks, but also a diversification away from government debt by central banks themselves and other sovereigns as well. But more importantly, one aspect that really tells us more than history, what is the upside for gold is really investor allocation. Investor allocations for gold is still very low. We have many wealth management, asset management firms substantially increasing gold price forecasts as well as recommendations for gold allocation in a portfolio. So I think this really sets a really fantastic and great environment, not only for gold to continue to perform, but eventually gold miners and developers and explorers to really take advantage of what's going on in the gold price. So, having prefaced this presentation with a little bit about gold, let's focus on the Cassiar Gold Project. The Cassiar Gold Project we are an advanced exploration gold explorer. We are focused in Western Canada in a safe jurisdiction in Northern British Columbia. First of all, looking at the table or one of our pillars on the left, one of the most important things in an explorer or a mining company, it's really the people. And we have a group of board members and executives that has a track record of discovering, permitting, building, operating, and selling billion-dollar gold projects. So we do have that skill set and experience. Other than that, we are focused in a very, very large district in a safe jurisdiction, which has become increasingly more important over the years. And we have a past producing district, and that means we have infrastructure that comes along with it. We have 5 past producing mines. We have paved roads straight to our deposit. We have grid power. We have water. We have a fully owned and permitted mill and a bunch of other infrastructure that I'll mention a little bit later in the presentation as well. This is a massive advantage as a company. Other than that, we already have a very substantial foundational resource. We have updated our mineral resource estimate early in the year, and we added a new indicated category for 410,000 ounces at 1.43 grams per ton, with an additional 1.9 million ounces inferred at 0.95 grams per ton, which adds up to a combined resource of over 2.3 million ounces at just over 1 gram per ton starting at surface. This is already a nice base to have. This deposit occupies roughly 1 square kilometer out of 590 square kilometer land package. So there's a lot of room to grow, not only laterally, but also at depth, as we'll see. And the contained metal value of the gold at current gold prices already is around $10 billion US. So it's already a very significant deposit with a lot of room to grow. Other than that, the jurisdiction is quite key. We are in a great jurisdiction, a safe jurisdiction. And more importantly, we do have, because we have a past producing district, mine permits that are grandfathered already in place, and community support, and that really benefits the project and significantly reduces, permitting timelines and a path to production, path to NPV, which is what we're building here. And last but not least, we have, this is really the key for the company. We are very, very undervalued. We've raised roughly $50 million to advance the project over the last 5 years or so. Our market cap is roughly 42 million Canadian dollars, with $8.7 million in the bank in cash and deposits as of August of this year. So we're quite undervalued, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a re-rate in the stock just on what we have, but we have a lot of catalysts coming. So I will mention those later in the presentation as well. So do stay tuned. Just very quickly to give you a bit of a corporate or capital structure snapshot, we have roughly 147 million shares outstanding. I mentioned the market cap and the cash that we have. These are in Canadian dollars. We have some level of analyst coverage and newsletter coverage as well. And we've been building over the last 4 or 5 years quite nice institutional shareholder base of specialist mining funds, and that got to roughly just under 30% of the registry over the last few years. Also, insiders have been participating, very heavily. Not only, every single private placement we've done over the years, investing millions of dollars, but also regularly buying on the open market, which is really, not only good, but also very important to see as well in a company like ours. Other than that, I mentioned, the team. We have really a fantastic team that has, done, has completed, quite a few, gold projects, have put several projects into production. I will just start with Steve Ledwin, our chairman. He's the former president and CEO of IAMGOLD. His big project, IAMGOLD, was the acquisition and development of the Côté Gold project that's now underpinning most of IAMGOLD's valuation and is skyrocketing IAMGOLD's share price very significantly as well. That's a very, very large project with, acquisition and capex in the billions of dollars in Ontario, in Canada. We also have Steve Robertson on our board as a geologist. He led a team that permitted and developed the Red Chris mine. That's a mine that Newmont acquired 70% of that project for about $1 billion US, almost 10 years ago. That project is just 200 kilometers south of us. We have also Chris Turon on our board. He's a mining engineer. He's ran several juniors. He's been with several major mining companies, and he's currently the general manager for the Hemlo mine that Barrick just sold for over $1 billion to a new company called Hemlo. Again, this is a project in Ontario as well. And we have also James Maxwell on our board. He's a geologist. He was the exploration director for Sabina that defined 10 million ounces in the Arctic Circle, and eventually sold that project for over $1 billion to B2Gold, with that project going into production, just a few months ago. So Just as a quick highlight from the type of caliber of the people that we have on our team. Now, focusing on our projects, our assets. So we control 2 districts, both of them in British Columbia, in Western Canada. Our flagship project, the Cassiar Gold Project, is in northern BC, roughly 100 kilometers south of the Yukon, British Columbia border, and just 200 kilometers north of the Red Chris mine, majority owned by Newmont. So we're kind of sandwiched between Newmont and Kerr Mining. Kerr Mining, which actually announced an acquisition or the desire to acquire New Gold for $7 billion as well. So we were definitely starting to see quite a bit of M&A in the space. We also have a very attractive district in southern British Columbia called Sheep Creek. It's technically part of the same belt. It produced quite a bit of gold until 1951, nearly 1 million ounces, or actually nearly 750,000 ounces, very high grade, very prospective. And that's an asset that it's kind of in the back burner, but we believe it has a lot of value, and especially eventually when we get to a mania phase in the gold space, I think this will become extremely, extremely valuable. And we're looking forward to generate shareholder value for shareholders with this asset as well, one way or the other. Now, zooming into our flagship Cassiar Gold Project in northern BC, where we have 100% of our focus. It's a very big district, roughly 59,000 hectares, 590 square kilometers, 25 by 27 kilometers contiguous land package. We have, if you see the district here, we have this black line, which is Highway 37, Provincial Highway 37, bisecting our property. That helps separate the 2 key project areas that we have north of the highway. We call the project area the Cassiar North project area. South of the highway, we call it the Cassiar South project area. Very simple. In the north, the targets are comprised mostly of at surface, open pitable targets similar to the Taurus deposits, where we see mineralization typically, from 0.5 gram to 2 grams, with the resource that we have at Taurus running just over 1 gram per ton on average and starting at surface. Mostly open pit scenario there. South of the highway, the mineralization style changes a little bit. So we go to a different mineralization style. Instead of disseminated and pervasive, we go to relatively narrow, or not so narrow, 3-meter wide veins, which are running between 10 and 20 grams per ton, where we have 4 past producing mines, all of our vein systems, all of which we've extended over the years with drilling, confirming the grades that we've seen historically as well. So a lot of room to grow, not only the bulk tonnage deposits, but also the high grade underground vein systems as well. Another key advantage that we have as a company that is really important to highlight, and many investors overlook this, is really the infrastructure and the access and the topography. So we have great access. We have paved road access straight to the deposit, which is really great. It's extremely valuable to have here. We have year-round access. We can operate year-round within the project, which is really great as well. And we also have an excellent topography. You can see the valley that you see here in this picture is, several dozens of square kilometers of, flat ground, which is very amenable to open pit mining, which is what we're seeing here or projecting here for the Cassiar North part of the property. It's really a great advantage to have that kind of topography, which is very amenable to the type of mining that we're looking to see in this project. Another key aspect as well is that we don't have any glaciers coming through like you see in the Golden Triangle or other projects out there, or very heavy snowfall as well. So this is a key advantage that we have as an operator. Other than that, I mentioned this in the beginning of the presentation as well. This is another key advantage is the mine permits. So we have 2 mine permits already in place because we have 5 past producing mines. And one of the mine permits, the Taurus Gold Mine permit, covers most of the Taurus deposits, and then some more to the east into tailings facilities in the former mill site. The resource already bleeds out of that mine permit, and it remains open. And we also have the Table Mountain Mine permit that covers the 4 past producing high-grade vein systems in the south, 2 tailings facilities, and the fully owned permitted mill, and all the infrastructure that supports the high-grade underground veins. And the key advantage for these permits is that it significantly shortens the timeline for a mine decision and eventually to production, which is a massive advantage to have as a company as well. Now, just to set the scene a little bit, here on this slide, you have, a bit of the location of the drilling. So you have a map view of the resource of the Taurus deposit, where we have the 2.3 million ounces. Before the update, the resource was 1.4 million ounces, with roughly 36,000 meters of drilling in the north area, with 31,000 or just over 31,000 meters in the resource area. We're able to expand our resource from 1.4 to 2.3 million ounces. And that just gives you a sense that the type of success and the hit ratio that we have in our projects and really sets the scene for what to expect in the future. It really highlights the advantages that we have as a project with the grade that we have, especially seeing mineralizations starting at surface, as we typically do at Taurus and other parts of the project as well. In this slide, you can see, a more detailed map and cross-section of the Taurus deposit. You can see the resource breakdown, the total ounces with the grade, 2.3 million ounces at over a gram per ton, and the two categories indicated and inferred. The resource roughly has 10 meters of overburden on average, and it's just over 1 square kilometer footprint. 91% of the ounces occur within 150 meters from surface, so it's very shallow. But more importantly, the deposit is open laterally, it's open at depth. It actually is also open it has several gaps within the pit shell, so there's a lot of room to grow. And again, this is just a very, very tiny portion, just over 1 square kilometer out of 590 square kilometer land package. So a lot of room to grow here laterally, but also at depth. And also another important thing to say is there's historical production from the Taurus East mine that produced 35,000 ounces in the 80s. And this gives us a lot of metallurgical comfort as well. Now, taking zooming out or taking a step back, around Taurus, what we typically see, and you can see on this slide an inset map here on the left, that just describes a small portion of our land package. You can see the Taurus deposit here in salmon color and overlapped with the Taurus gold mine permit. And, we know that the Taurus deposit remains open. We don't know how big it's going to get. It's open for expansion laterally, at depth, internal to the pit shell, so a lot of room to grow. But what we're seeing consistently in a radius that are several kilometers centered around the Taurus deposit is consistently seeing the characteristics that we love and like at Taurus, which is similar style of veining, alteration, and mineralization with similar grades as well. And that's indicating that we have a much, much larger system than previously thought. Some of the targets that we like the most are New Coast, which we just completed some drilling. All the assays are pending there. Snow Creek, or even Lucky. And we're also developing other targets that we're quite excited about. So we're just starting to scratch the surface. To give you a sense of what we're seeing, obviously the best type or the only way to really define mineralization, expand mineralization, is through drilling. But in order to advance the targets and prepare and prepare them for drilling, what we've done, this is the results from the mapping and sampling program that we completed last year. You can see in pink Taurus deposit footprint as it currently stands, and the colors that you see here are basically sampling from the bedrock that every once in a while sticks out of the soil. We know at Taurus the overburden is 10 meters. In other parts it's unknown, but every once in a while we have bedrock exposed. And in many cases, what we typically see or consistently is the grade that we see in these samples in a very large footprint, including the New Coast Corridor, Owl Rock, Hopeful, or Snow Creek. It's similar grades. A lot of the material that we sample is 0.5 gram to 2 grams, and it's outcropping, and we know mineralization comes from the underground. So that's suggesting that there's a lot of room to grow laterally and potentially at depth as well here, with these kind of indications in grades, which is really making us very excited by all of these targets. So to give you a sense of what we've conducted this year, I mentioned we've conducted some drilling. So this year we've conducted 7,300 meters of drilling. We've completed just over 2,000 meters with step outs at Taurus to continue to expand mineralization in the main pit and in other areas of the Taurus deposit, to continue to test the deposit at the margins. We've allocated, just over 5,000 meters into the New Coast target, which is roughly 2 to 2.5 kilometers south of the Taurus deposit. And if you remember the slide before, there's a bunch of outcrop here. We also have historically in the last 2 years completed 9 drill holes here. All the drill holes were mineralized with similar widths and similar grades to what we typically see at Taurus. So that's something that is quite exciting. So we're really looking forward to be able to get all the assays and report them back. And so stay tuned. I think the Taurus area results are coming imminently. And on the back of that, we'll be releasing the New Coast results as well. So stay tuned for that. Especially because at New Coast, we've also put our deepest drill hole to date with 720 meters long, which is quite exciting. And we've released some core photos as well of what we've seen there. So also quite excited to see what's coming out there, not only at that long drill hole, but all of the others as well. It's a project that keeps on giving when you look at the drill results from all of the campaigns we've conducted over the years, and the progress that we've made year after year, expanding mineralization and also increasing the resource size that we have. Now, here is a long section. I don't want to get too much into the geology, but this is a long section of part of our land package. This is a 15-kilometer trend, long section or schematic section looking west. So Cassiar north to the right, Cassiar south to the left. The Taurus deposit is right here in the blue area, which remains open. And we have all the 4 other past producing underground mines in the south here, with the main mine, Rolog, Cusack, and Bain. And again, here in this area is where the mineralization style changes. In the north is disseminated, pervasive, computable scenario, typically 0.5 gram to 2 grams. In the south, what we're seeing is 3-meter wide veins, 10 to 50 to 20 gram per ton material on average, which is quite exciting as well. To give you a sense of those grades and historical production, you have a table here in blue on the left, mostly in the 80s and 90s from those 4 vein systems, grades between 10 and almost 21 grams per ton, over 300,000 ounces produced. The veins are east-west trending. We've extended all of them along strike and down dip. They remain open. There's a lot of room to not only continue to extend the known veins, but also potentially find or discover blind parallel and stacked vein systems as well. So there's also a big prize here with a very, very high grade. This is also some infrastructure that is quite valuable, especially for the high-grade vein systems. We have 17 historical portals there, 25 kilometers of underground workings already in place there. Power lines connecting those portals to the fully owned and permitted 300 ton per day mill, specifically well designed for the high-grade veins. We have tailings facilities with capacity. We have, in addition to the paved roads, 160 kilometers of access roads, as well as a 48-person camp with access to grid, power, and water. And basically, this allows us to operate very efficiently today, significantly lowers the barrier for development, but also provides us with the bootstrapping opportunity that, together with the mine permits and the skill set that we have as a company, specifically focusing on the high-grade veins. Other than that, we're also very proud by the environmental standards that we operate under and the social work that we've been doing. We have an excellent relationship with the community. We're very proud of that. We continue to be, great stewards of the environment in the community, and everything that we do is putting that first and foremost as we work to unlock value for everyone, community, as we take care of the environment, and also as we create value for our shareholders as well. So, just to wrap up here very quickly, as I mentioned, we've completed 7,300 meters of drilling, 1/3 to the Taurus area. We're expanding mineralization. 1/3 to the Cassiar area. We're expanding mineralization. 1/3 to the New Coast area. 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 about 2/3 of the drilling to the new coast target, where we don't have a resource yet. The new coast target, we believe, to have a potential to become another Taurus, independently of Taurus. There's a lot of potential there. So the results will start coming out imminently, probably until January, February of next year. So in the next couple of months, there will be quite a bit of news flow. In addition to that, or in the back of that, we will be releasing metallurgical studies and maiden PEA on the project on the first half of next year. So a lot of catalysts, a lot of de-risking activities, a lot of advancement in the project that's expected. I think it should go well for the project, given all the characteristics that we have and all the potential that we have, and especially when you consider the gold price and where we are already as a company, and especially when you consider we're so undervalued as well. Here's the share price. I'm just looking that we're getting 5 minutes to the end here. I would actually just like to call your attention to this slide here. This slide provides an enterprise value per ounce on the ground with some peers that we have here. And we're one of the cheapest peers out there. Can buy, our enterprise value per ounce on the ground is below $15 Canadian. This is extremely undervalued. It will be hard pressed to find anything similar to this, especially when you consider that we should actually be trading at a premium when you look at the infrastructure, the permits, skill sets, the mill, etc. So the access, the topography. So this is a great opportunity. So I invite people to really have a look at what we have, and we have time for meetings as well. So please do not hesitate. And catalysts are starting to come out soon, so don't waste any time. So just to recap, before we can go quickly to Q&A, why Cassiar Gold? We check all the boxes. We have infrastructure and permits in a tier 1 jurisdiction. We have already a significant resource with a lot of potential to expand and discover new mineralization. We have an experienced team that has done it before. We operate by the highest environmental standards, and we are fully supported by the community as well. And we are undervalued. Just on what we have alone, there's a lot of upside potential. You add on top of that the catalysts that should help narrow our valuation gap to our peers. But also, I think we have the win on our sales, on the back of our sales, with the state of the gold price as well. So with that, and I don't have a lot of minutes left, but I'll just maybe stop to see if there's some questions here from you. There's a lot of questions. All right. So one question is the anticipated amount of drilling for 2026. We don't know yet. Obviously, a project like this, with the amount of targets that we have, we would like to have a drill program like we had, in the past, 25,000 or 50,000 meters, that could, get us as quickly as possible to the 5 million ounce target that we want to achieve. But that will be dependent on basically a lot of aspects of the company. There's a lot of strategic considerations going on right now, and how the company also performs in terms of the stock, and also always being mindful of dilution, because we think that first and foremost, the board, I'm saying, as shareholders. That's actually also the second question. All right. There is a question about board participation in the last financing. So we raised $6 million. So board participated for about 10% of that raise. I personally spent $200,000 in that financing. I bought, almost a similar amount on the open market over the year, this year as well. Our chairman put at least $100,000 this year, but some more on the open market as well. So I would say roughly 10%. All right, another question is it possible to go fast in production? Maybe, that's the short answer. So, we have two aspects of the company. We have the Taurus in the bulk tonnage side of the property. where we have been allocated roughly 75% of our resources over the last few years. And that's been really our focus, and that's where we see really a company making basically mine. And our goal is within the next 5 years to continue to expand mineralization and do some also upgrade the resource category, while at the same time in parallel go through economic studies. We're going to be doing our maiden PEA early next year, and we want to eventually advance to feasibility studies, bankable feasibility studies, and eventually to a mine decision, while at the same time, as a third parallel basically activity, we work on getting our mine permits from care and maintenance to production status. And given that we have the mine permits already in place, which is very rare in Canada, we expect timelines for that to be much shorter than you can see, 5, 6, 10 years typically, and we're seeing timelines in the order of 2 to 3 years. We also have another possibility, which is the Cassiar South part of our property. For that, we have mine permits as well, infrastructure, fully owned and permitted mill. That gives us the optionality to bootstrap this into production. There's also a lot of work to be done there. We don't have a resource in the south, so our first step will be to establish a resource there. But we believe that that's actually a possibility that probably in half of the time that we can get towards or bulk tonnage side of things into production with very, very minimal capex, basically in the order of 20, 30, 40 million dollars. So that's the kind of ballpark or guesstimation that we have in terms of what it would take to get the Cassiar South into production. But that will be also a fraction of what we see as a potential for Taurus. Cassiar South we see as a potential for 50 or 60,000 ounces per year, as opposed to Taurus and the bulk tonnage deposit where we see potential for a lot more. A question for the fully diluted share counts. We have 147 million shares outstanding. We have about 50 million warrants. You can see that on our corporate presentation. They can find on our website. And it's on the last page, so feel free to see that. We have about, all those 50 million warrants, is about 7 million expiring in 10 days. All the warrants are at 50 cents Canadian. I think we're trading roughly around 28, 29 cents. So you probably need to see the stock double before you start seeing some basically warrants getting exercised or seeing some overhang. But if they do, that would bring treasury as well. In terms of the management team, there's a question about the management team experience, 10-year successes. I've mentioned that earlier in the presentation. You can also see on the website, so I'll maybe won't repeat that, so I can move on to another question. And the history of the Cassiar Gold Project is also a very long answer. I can give you a very brief history with mainly just the highlights. The Cassiar Gold Project started with a gold rush in the 1870s. Solid 72-ounce gold nugget was found at the heart of the property. That started a gold rush in a district. Many companies have come, have worked over our district over the years. Basically the 70s, you have several companies operating there. In the 80s as well, there were 2 mills operating at the same time in our district. Several companies produced. There were 5 fast producing mines there. It's a little bit like you can call it maybe like the golden triangle is today, with some companies producing, some companies exploring in different stages as well. And then the company or the district itself became under one single ownership in the late 2000s by a group called Hawthorne. And then they actually tried to fast track the high grade into production around that time. They ran out of cash, although they left behind the refurbished mill. They added quite a bit of infrastructure to the project. They advanced the underground workings as well, specifically at the main vein system, which will be the one easiest to get to production as well in the shorter term. And then basically there was a group that came in In the 2010s, they roughly invested $45 million. And then we acquired, or at firstly, we optioned and then acquired the project and took ownership of the project in 2020. And in the last 5 years since we took over the project, we drilled nearly 70,000 meters of drilling. We basically, when we acquired a project, there was no resource. We brought a 1 million ounce resource in early 2020, late 2019. We increased our resource in 2022 to 1.4 million ounces. We increased our resource to 2.3 million ounces, earlier this year, and we continue to be on this path to really unlock this district and eventually get this to production as well. So that's we still have more time here, John. And 5 minutes past the time. I guess the silence is consent, so I'll just keep on going. No, time to wrap. Okay. All right, so I guess I got the call. I appreciate everyone for listening. I invite everyone to come and reach out, have a look at what we have, check our website, our corporate presentation. You can also schedule a meeting with me over the next couple of days. There's still slots available, and there's a lot of catalysts ahead of us. We're quite undervalued. We'll be hard-pressed to find an opportunity as exciting as undervalued as Cassiar goes. So again, I thank the team at the OTC Markets for organizing this and everyone for listening to this presentation as well.